Hey, I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. It's former NFL player Nolan Carroll. He's here. It's good, doing a lot of great things off the field.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
You missed the game?
A little bit here and there. I was watching my guys on Monday, Dallas and New York. They were playing, and it kind of brought back some memories. I was like, yeah, it's more about the locker room atmosphere than it is making plays on the field. So that's the one thing I really miss the most, because you're all going through the same battles, trials, and tribulations, and similar stuff off the field as far as like sacrificing time away from your family, your kids, your loved ones, and that's when you really band together and you guys are able to talk about their problems in the locker room, and that's what really makes the locker room tighter is the fact that you have all these different things going on around you outside the field, that when you finally come to the field, that's when you're really able to just let go and let loose and really be yourself.
Yeah, you don't miss those car wrecks every single game, but those relationships, those were long-lasting, important relationships.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Still to this day, I still talk to guys on the Eagles, and I haven't played there since 2016.
Yeah,
so it's really a different type of bond. I consider it not like the military, but almost like the military. Those guys, they still have that long-standing relationship that they had when they were in their battalion or their group, their squad, whatever it is. It's the same as football. We have our teams, our squad. You have your groups that you kind of grew up with, the guys that you got drafted with or came into the same team with, that you guys are still together because you've been on this journey with him or whoever it is, that you guys are able to experience the same thing at the same time, that the winning, the losing, the injuries, the getting a contract, not getting a contract, going to different teams and experiencing how it is away from another team and how they operate and how you were operating when you were with your guys. So it's just a whole bunch of different things that come together where you're able to share those experiences with somebody else.
Who are your closest friends from the Eagles still?
My closest guys is Brandon Graham, by far. I call him the mayor. He's going to be the mayor of Philadelphia one day. It's
just going to happen.
It's going to happen because he's such a down-to-earth guy. He loves to talk to everybody. He doesn't see himself above anybody else. He'll talk to the janitor or guy Troy. He'll talk to him like he talks to Howie, the GM.
Yeah.
He treats everybody the same, and when you have a guy like that, it makes you want to work harder because you have somebody in your corner that cares about you, that cares about your well-being, not only on the field but off the field as well. His success is your success, and for me to be close to him and Jalen Mills, there's another guy, Jalen Watkins, who came in as a rookie when I first got to Philly, so having that connection with those guys and always checking up on them, supporting them. I remember when they won the Super Bowl the year after I left.
Yeah.
I was elated. I was happy for that whole team, even though everybody thought I was, sour about that because I went somewhere else. I wasn't, because I know the type of guys that are in that locker room. I know the type of guys that they are off the field, and I know that from the year that we had when Doug first came in to having the Super Bowl the next year, I knew exactly how hard those guys worked to be able to accomplish that goal. So I was definitely very happy for that whole team and that whole organization.
Yeah, you realize how tough it is to win, and that's a likable group of guys that work their asses off to beat the Patriots and get it done.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And everybody's going to be happy about that, right?
Exactly. If you beat the Patriots, everybody's going to be happy about that.
No doubt. So,
except the Patriots.
Except the Patriots. So why don't we talk about your transition into regular life? Because, it's a big transition. There's a lot going on. The business world has been interesting to you, but what has been most surprising about leaving football behind and really starting a new chapter?
I just think it's more about figuring out who you are and seeing that how much time you have, and your routine has just changed. I've been used to waking up at 6:15 in the morning and basically trying to be the first one at the facility to get myself ready for practice, meetings, and then more meetings, walkthroughs, all these different things, and all of a sudden, what do I do now?
I don't have a schedule.
Yeah, I'm waking up at 6:15. I'm like, okay, what do I do now? What do I do next? Okay, do you want to go to the beach? Do you want to go on a trip? Do you want to visit your family? And I was seeing a lot of the times now that I've had time to really see what my family's interests are and see what my brother, my sister, my mom and dad, they're all doing, because before I wasn't really concerned about that. My whole main focus was just football and being as well as I could for my teammates, that even though my parents or my family were by my side, I didn't really pay attention too much to what they had going on. So now I had an opportunity to know what my brother's interests were, to my sister's interests, my mom, my dad, spend more time with my son. Even though he didn't know it at the time, I spent so much time away from him that now I'm finally able to be around him and see him grow up. So for me, that's the most exciting thing, is to be able to be included in my family's life, because they spent so much time and sacrificed so much for me that I want to be able to do the same thing for them, and just as a whole experienced their life and enjoyed their moments because they've been along the ride with me since I've been in high school until, you know, 30. I've been playing football for almost 16 years.
That's
you know,
crazy.
so that's a long time to sacrifice for one individual. So I want to be able to, you know, show my gratification and share the same time that they had sacrificed for me.
How old's your son now?
He's 5 now, but he looks like he's freaking 8. He's just, I don't know where in the genetics that he got. It's probably from my grandfather, but he's gonna be huge.
Wow.
I know it now. He's already wearing a size 2.5 in the shoe, and he's 5
gosh.
years old. I know, it's crazy. I gotta save my shoes because when he's 11,
He'll probably be wearing them.
He probably will, so I'm just gonna put it in his closet.
So once you're starting to figure out your identity, what are you realizing your interests are, and then how are you turning that into business and into different passions for yourself?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is from my parents just throughout their life and them being involved in business. My mom owned a couple hair salons. My dad was in the car business for a little bit, and he was into architecture as well. But for them, the hair salon business, when I saw how they were forming and creating that and building that up, I got to see firsthand how hard it was to really have a business, being able to run employees, check, you know, receipts, check for products, ordering products, making sure you get customers in, marketing, advertising, all those different things. And it really interests me because I'm always interested in building stuff. I'm a big Legos guy. I was always, since I was like 5 years old, I was building my own Legos by myself. So always building and creating things were always something that I've always wanted to do. And I know once I got out of football, I thought to myself, when you're in football, you're creating, you're building your own brand as yourself, but you don't really see that way because you're more interested in getting a bigger contract. Well, that comes from you playing well on the field. And a lot of guys don't really realize is that their resume is a silent film that we always see every single week, every single day. We see that. That is our job resume for other 32 teams out there.
Right.
So we're really building ourselves up, but we don't think about it that way. And when I got out the league, I was able to see it. I was able to apply the same things that I was doing as far as like working hard, discipline, working with a team, those same things I applied. And then when I saw the business aspect of it too, I said, well, let me see what my interests are in business and just how a community works, how an environment works, how the economy works, and see what I would like to do to be able to capitalize on that and just use all my values, all my lessons that I've learned on the field and apply that to business. And that's what I've been doing. I just jumped straight into it. And,
that's awesome.
Here we are now, and it's been a good adventure.
So you're a builder. What's it like building an app and building a business out of that?
Oh man, it is definitely more work than I thought.
Yeah.
You know, when my app is called Utrue, and I like to think of it as an app that is able to help small businesses and at the same time help customers. And I think a lot of times, small businesses, they have this euphoria of oh, I want to start this business, but when they do start it, that euphoria goes away because now the next thing is, well, how do I bring customers in?
Right, how do I pay the bills?
Advertise? Yeah. What's my budget? Those are a lot of things that when those questions start forming, you don't know because you have never experienced it. You've never experienced that before. So a lot of small businesses don't survive after the first year because they don't know what they're doing, or two, they spend too much money to where they can't really build their business. So what we do with Utrue, we want to eliminate that. We want to eliminate the stress, the time away from you building your business and let us focus on the advertising part of it. And when we do that, we're able to get them in front of the eyes that they need in their local markets. You know, at first when I took this project on, I was saying, oh, we can go global, we can go all over the world. But then when I really looked at it, I said that it needs to only be local because when you've been growing up, where was the place you'd always go to? A local market, somewhere where a mom and pop shop where you knew those people. You knew who they were, they knew who you were, they knew what you liked, what you didn't like. So that's what I want to build with Utrue. I want to be able to provide that type of audience for small businesses to retain their customers, show them, you know, what type of deals are out there. But in return for the customer shopping, we give them cashback rewards, coupons, and you know, we give them the incentive to invest as well. When they spend in certain shops, we take a small portion of that and help them invest it back in their 401k. So everything goes hand in hand because we want, I feel myself personally that business and customer relationship can go hand in hand to build a whole community.
Absolutely. We, with our business here, like we were doing a lot of national news, and then we boiled it down to local, and our numbers have gone through the roof because people care about the local stories in Philadelphia or Miami or Boston or New York. And the national stuff, they're not coming to CBS for it. They're going to the national outlets. And same with you guys. It's like small businesses, you can geo-target it specifically to this area and get you exactly what you need, but it takes time to kind of go through all those processes to figure out what people actually want and need.
Exactly. I think when a lot of people start small businesses, or when they start a business in general, they think, oh, overnight I'm going to be a success. But it's never like that. It just doesn't work out that way, because you either, one, you're going into a market that's already saturated, or you're going to a market where a lot of people don't know about the product. So either way, you have to compete with something or somewhere, somebody. And I think that's where a lot of people get discouraged, because they're not ready for that yet. And you know, I just think that as far as Utrue, we can be able to help alleviate that pressure of wanting to be that overnight success. We'll be able to help along the way. I'm not saying we can do it all, but I'm saying we can help you to be able to accomplish what goals you want to for your business.
I think one of the things I love about this generation of athletes is that you guys were ready for life after sports. Whereas like the previous generation was like, all right, what are we gonna do now? Like we're done. Whereas like, even for you, I'm sure, as your last couple of years in the league were going down, like guys were very intentional about what they were doing next. So who were some people that you saw that you're like, all right, this person's doing some cool things, or I got some great advice from this guy here?
Let me see. It's crazy, because I was at that period in time from 2010 to really now, where in 2010 guys they didn't want to retire because they didn't know what the future held for them after.
Yeah, they were extending it, playing a little longer.
They were trying to. They would play in Canada, they would play in the AFL, you know, they were doing all those things to sustain that career longer, because they were so frightened of what's after. And I think throughout the years, and it really, I think, started with, I don't know if you remember him, Chris Borland. He played linebacker in San Francisco.
He retired one season, right?
When he just retired, and you know, that shocked everybody in the NFL. It was like, what is this guy doing? But he really had a purpose behind what he wanted to do. He didn't want to get hurt anymore. He had bad concussion that really affected him, and I had the same thing. And when he did that, I think that's when you saw a lot more guys starting to realize, hey, I can use what I've done on the field, off the field. And like it comes to, we're so focused on just our job on the field and being as successful as we can, that we neglect the stuff off the field. But when it comes time to retire, the NFL's not looking to help you out after you retire.
No, they're not giving you a hand.
They don't care. They just want the next man that's coming in to make them money. So when guys are out, they get frightened, they get scared, and they want to continue the same lifestyle that they've had before. That's why you see guys going broke, depressed. You know, guys commit suicide because they're just lost and they don't have that direction. And I think as the years have gone on, the NFL has tried to help, you know, giving guys certain programs to be able to do finance stuff, acting, broadcasting, all those certain things, to be able to show guys that there's other things for you to do, but they're not necessarily pushing you in that direction. So you really we need, I think, a program that is going to be able to help and protect guys once they retire. They can at least educate them to go into the next path and not be scared to take that path when they're done with football, because football, it ends like that. I can remember my first day as a rookie, and that was 9 years ago.
Wow.
And here we are in 2019. It
flies,
It flies by super fast. So guys don't really see that part of it. They're just in the now moment, and that's always preparing for a game every single week. Then you have the off season, and that's really when you're supposed to develop what you want to do off the field, but your mind is still in tune to, oh, I got to get ready for the next season.
Right, you got to train.
Yeah. So you're not really living for the now moment, you're living for the future. And you're still reliving the past, from your past mistakes, what you've done well, what you haven't, what worked for you well last season, what can I apply to the next season. So you skip a whole big gap of months where you can really develop yourself. You can read, you can take programs, all these different things that aren't really being utilized.
But there's just also so much recovery from the season too, and like that's a huge priority. Like, how many concussions did you have during your career?
Counted for?
Yeah, at least diagnosed.
Oh, man, I think 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah, it was about 6. And
dating back to how far? When was your first one? Like high school?
I think my first one was high school.
Okay.
But if you want to go back to high school, it's probably more. But back then, the education on concussions wasn't as big as it is now.
No, you get dinged. Yeah, you just get your belt wrong. You're going right back in. Whereas now, there's still some issues with it, but at least there's blue tent. We're having conversations about it.
Yeah, which is great. But I think there still needs to be more done, because I think even though guys aren't saying anything, you can see it on TV.
Oh yeah,
guys
they're still playing through it. Or they come back 2 plays later, and you're like, that guy should not be out there.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Sometimes some guys will be like, oh no, I can't come off the field, because if you come off the field, you're done for the whole game.
Right. Or you could lose your job after that.
That's what guys are really afraid of, and I think that's why you see so many guys still being quiet about the concussion part of it, and they feel as if they come out and say, oh, I'm not feeling good today because of what happened on Sunday. They're scared that, okay, the team's not going to value me anymore like they did prior to. And I think that's where guys really have to stand up and speak out about that, because it's not just for now, it's for later on. When you have kids, what's going to happen when you can't function, when you can't help them with their homework, or when you can't do regular activities anymore because your mind and your body aren't together. So those are the things that guys really need to focus on, not just their playing time in the league, but 20, 30 years from now, if they can think that far out.
It's a really brave thing to speak out in the NFL for a number of different reasons, but like no guarantees with the contracts. You could lose everything by saying one thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane. And even like your last couple of years in the league, like more and more guys are standing up, whether it's social justice stuff or just, you know, marijuana, things like that. Like, it's still a lot to put yourself out there. So what was it like watching that kind of the last half of your NFL career?
It was actually eye-opening. And you know, my colleague here, Malcolm Jenkins, he was the one that he really started that whole
huge
thing.
Leader, yeah.
He was the guy that, I remember the meeting once Kaepernick started this whole kneeling thing. You know, we didn't want to go that same route and bring too much attention to us, but I know we were getting ready to play the Chicago Bears, and we brought us all in the team. He said, man, what is it that we can do that's a peaceful protest, not the same as Kaepernick, to be able to bring awareness to what's going on, not only in the country, but in Philly itself. You know, North Philly especially is a bad area. And Malcolm really was the catalyst to be able to bring more awareness and jump on the bandwagon with Eric Reed and Colin Kaepernick and get that thing going. So I remember him saying, we're just going to put our fist up in the air. And, you know, I just remember saying I would support him, you know, when he did him, Ron Brooks, and then Chris Long came along. Yeah. Chris Long ended up doing tremendous things, you know, even after he's retired. He gave away basically his whole salary.
It's incredible.
So that's something that I commend him for. You know, he's a guy that he could have kept it and done something else.
Sure.
But he said, no, I'll do something else. I really think he is the one that doesn't get enough praise, because he's been doing things ever since he's gotten in the league. And I remember even when he was in college, he was doing stuff similar like that. He went to University of Virginia. I went to Maryland. So I was able to keep an eye on him, because one, he was a great player, but two, he had a great cause. And I remember there was something came on, a documentary where he pretended to be homeless for 2 days.
Yeah.
Him and I can't remember the other D lineman's name, but for me to see that and him to do that, I had so much respect for that guy after that, because he knows what's going on. He's more aware of what's going on outside the world than a lot of other football players do, a lot of athletes do. You know, we stay in our little bubble because that's what we've been so used to for a lot of our lives.
It's comfortable to do that too.
It's real comfortable to do that, and we're just so confined that we don't want to step outside of that because we're scared of change. And for him, he was not that guy. He's always trying to push the envelope to do that. So really, you know, thanks to Chris Long for that.
You had a lot of special guys in that locker room. I mean, what are your best memories from Philly?
Oh man, I just think every morning it was coming in and seeing Jordan Matthews, Carson Wentz.
Jordan Matthews just back every single year.
It seems like they just need to keep his locker just there. Jordan 81, you're right there.
Just keep that nameplate ready.
Just let him know. But I would always try and be the first guy in the locker room, just to get myself ready for the day. No matter how early I got there, Jordan or Nelson was there before me, and Brandon Graham. Wow. Always, every single time. I remember this one time. It was Carson Wentz's rookie year, and I was getting in the facility at 6 o'clock, and I saw him in there before me. I'm like, this is weird. So then I would try and get in there at 5:45. Guess what? Carson was there at 5:40. I was like, man, that's when I was like, okay, this guy's going to be special. Even before, you know, all the stuff he's been doing now, I just knew from that memory and being in that locker room with those 4 guys that would always beat me in there every single time, I knew that this was a special place, this was a special team, and it was a special city, because we were all committed to one thing, and that was winning. And winning for the city, not just ourselves, but winning for everybody that was involved to make Philadelphia what it is now. And like I said before, I'm glad that the city has their championship, so now they can talk all the trash they want to everybody else in the NFL, because they know the type of work that we put in. You know, even though we don't always tell everybody what we're doing, they know, because it shows on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. Nolan, it's been great hanging out.
Definitely, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Check out this guy. Where can they check out all your stuff? What's the best place to check out the app and everything else?
Well, you can go on utrue.com. Okay. We're actually gearing up in 2020. I want to give us some time to really get it out there and get it as strong as possible. That's why I've spent this whole year really building it the way I've wanted to, and I've had a great team that's helped me. And then you can always go on my Instagram. You know, you can always also look at my foundation. But I also am going to be speaking at the Music Entrepreneurial Conference that's going to be here in December 13th through 15th.
Nice.
And I'm really looking forward to that because I think music, sports, and entrepreneurship all come together. And for me to be able to speak about that, speak about my development from college is similar to an artist. You know, a lot of people don't see the work that you put in until you get on the field and you start making plays, the same as music. The more hits you bring out, the more songs that you create, the more the public loves it, the bigger your brand is. And I think those two go hand in hand with building yourself and being an entrepreneur. Even though we're playing a team sport with a team, you're still yourself an individual. You represent the name on your back, and that's what they always tell us in the NFL. So the more you're able to build yourself up as well as helping the community around you, it just makes you even stronger.
Good deal. Nolan,
definitely, man.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
That's
Appreciate
Nolan.
it.
I'm DJ. See you next time here on The Sit Down.